Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Callum Nicol, and as you can see, today I am delighted to announce that I've been joined by the American Kopites. The boys had me on their live stream, I think it was last week, wasn't it? And thoroughly enjoyed it. We've been in contact since and really wanted to get them on the channel. So, boys, I'm joined by Iman, Amir, and Muhammad Ali. Boys, how are we doing? You okay?
Well,
yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you
for having us, man.
We're doing good,
anytime,
man.
boys. Anytime. I just want to get it kicked off, really, because I think it has gone quite quiet, hasn't it? I think we were just talking before we started recording. It has sort of simmered a little bit in terms of big news and things leaking to the press. So basically, Liverpool have two new midfielders, don't we? They're through the door at the very start of pre-season, exactly how Klopp wanted it, it seems. That's what he was speaking about before the signings came in, wasn't it? I always think with new signings, it can go one of two ways, can't it? You look at players like Fabinho and Andy Robertson, and it takes them ages, doesn't it, to really bed into the system. And then you look at players like Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, they just get it straight away. So we'll start with you, Amir. What do you think of these two new players, of Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai? How do you think their story will go early doors at Liverpool?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Thank you. I think for me that they're gonna hopefully do very well in their first seasons at Liverpool. I think they're gonna adapt very well. But I personally, for me, in my opinion, I think McAllister will be better in his first season because he's a Premier League proven in a few seasons right now, and and all that. And I think Szoboszlai will be better in the future. So both of them are great. I think both of them have been excellent signings. They got some character and some leadership in the background as well. If you take a look at them, and if we got Lavia, our midfield is sorted, in my opinion, for the next couple of years at least. And I'm truly excited for both.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm very excited to see Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai. I feel like their creativity, their ability to just be another creative outlet for the team. And I feel like this is great because not all the creative responsibility has to be put on Trent Alexander-Arnold. I feel like we relied on him for such a long time for that creativity. And I think finally it can be spread out. We have Salah, Gakpo can do it as well. Diaz. So we have a lot of creative players. I see Nunez and Jota as more as the finishers, the one who cap off the moves and put the ball in the back of the net. And I feel like we have a very dangerous team. Preseason, the boys all look happy, and the vibe and the excitement I'm getting for next season, man, I feel like we're going to really do great.
I mean, I agree with the boys. I think that it looks very exciting. I think that Szoboszlai coming through the Red Bull system as well, he's much more used to gegenpressing. So I think that quite quickly. However, I think McAllister, I think they both mentioned that Premier League proven quality. I just hope that they slot him quickly, because I think we all agree as soon as we had McAllister and Szoboszlai come through the door, we were all like, we're going to win the title. That's over. We're going to win the quadruple. We're going to do everything. Or at the very least, we felt good. We were like, yes, okay, finally. But I worry that it will take time, because Klopp also likes the players who've performed in the past, he will keep them longer. Like Alberto Moreno. Well, like you mentioned, Robertson, when he came, it took a while. And because he trusted Moreno. And then as soon as Robertson came in, we were like, you shouldn't have trusted Moreno. He is not bad, but it was very clear who was better. So my only worry is that it will take maybe a month or two before they actually are put into the team. But maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, it's very true. It's a fair point. And like we all said, with McAllister, it's one of them, isn't it? We're all expecting he should be bang on it from day one. But I think it's interesting with McAllister because he can play all sorts of positions. And I think it depends on who the third, if there is a third midfielder coming in, where he will actually play. Because if it is a DM, then he can express himself going forward, can't he? But if it's a player that is roaming around similar areas, he might actually have to come back and, do that six work and the dirty work back there, which, either way, I think he'll do a good job. But it does lead me on to my next question, mentioning transfers. We are greedy, aren't we? We're always greedy and we always want more. I'd like to ask you boys, Muhammad Ali, we'll start with you first. Who's next? If anybody, who's next?
Well, I'll give you two answers. One of who I think will be next, and then one of who I want to be next. So I think based on the news, it seems like Lavia is the one that we're constantly seeing something occur. Every once in a while, we get a video or we get an update on Twitter or something along the lines. So I think realistically, Lavia is the next guy. The person I would want is that center back, because worst case scenario, if we don't sign another midfielder, at least we brought two in. But if we don't get any defender, that's a bit of a worry. And for the center back position, I think you made a great point of it. It's kind of dry out there. There's no one out there. It's kind of barren. But
I have a list. I can put it out there.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah. There's Pavlovic from Salzburg. There's David Hanko from Feyenoord. There's Facundo Medina from Lens.
That's the one I want.
Yeah. Medina.
I like him. I like watching. I think one thing he's very good at, if this is just based on highlights, he has a fantastic pass on him. And I think one of the things that we're used to as Liverpool fans is Virgil van Dijk running towards Robertson, stopping, cutting onto his right, and then sending it straight to Salah. And I think that Medina would be a natural player to do that same pass, and maybe Virgil van Dijk can do the other one.
And he's cheap too. He's cheap. He's got be around 25 million, 30 million. Yeah.
For that bargain.
Yeah.
That's what we've got to look for then, isn't it? Someone like that, because I think the pot is starting to dwindle a little bit, isn't it? With £95 million spent, it almost feels like a dream. I don't know about you boys, but I'm like, wow, we've really done that, and it's not even August yet. So it has, I think, got to be someone along that, like a bit of a diamond in the rough that, you know, isn't a name that's right at the top of the list. Eman, anybody on your side, any thoughts regarding who should be next?
Someone I really like is Tap Silva. I feel like that could be a deal we could possibly get done. He's going to RB Leipzig, but Keba is another talented young center back. And when we're looking at these center backs, we're all talking about the price range of 25 to probably like 35, 40 million. So I feel like we can bring them in, and I feel like it's definitely possible. But like, it's very dry. You know, it's not the center backs that, you know, are like world class. They come in and immediately impact the team. I feel like you said, we have to find that diamond in the rough. You know what I'm saying? And on who will be next, I think Lavia. But I'm genuinely confused because we hear all these news about these midfielders, Thuram, and then Szoboszlai. Like a random player that we didn't expect to get. So you never know with Liverpool.
Thuram is expected to stay at Nice for one more season, apparently.
Which doesn't close the door, does it? That means that perhaps if there is more reinforcements needed in that midfield, and I think we will see a couple of midfielders go at the end of this coming season as well, with Thiago and maybe Jordan Henderson. If they don't go this summer, then I think next summer that's the time up, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you look at that, if he's staying at the club over in Nice, then that's only good for us. If we've made that initial contact, found it hard work, perhaps next season it'll be a bit more of a straightforward, here, he's our main man this summer, we'll have him now, we'll pay what you want. And I think that was the big thing with the Thuram situation, because to do all that groundwork, I had a first-class ticket on the Kefren Thuram train, by the way. I absolutely love that guy, and I was devastated. But, you know, I wasn't too familiar with Szoboszlai as I was Thuram. I'd watched a lot more of Thuram. But after catching up a bit, I think, compared to some Liverpool fans who knew a lot about Szoboszlai, he is unbelievable, isn't he? He just looks like the man, and he's going to take our team and grab it by the scruff of the neck. We were talking on a live stream last night, me and Amir, and they were talking about captains. And I don't want to say it now, obviously. I don't think now. But he has that, just the attributes. And you look at the guy and you think he could lead our team. And obviously we haven't seen him yet. But looking at highlights and how he's played for Leipzig, captain of his country, you know, those qualities, those leadership qualities are obviously there, or he wouldn't be captain of his country at 22, would he? But moving on, we've all mentioned the two positions that I'm going to talk about. What is the priority? Is it defensive midfielder, or is it a left centre back? Because I always have this fear with Liverpool, and obviously we've spent well so far, but in terms of, I always seem to be left wanting more from a window, and I always think, why can't we just stitch up that entire transfer window by nailing all of our targets, filling our squad perfect, ready to go for the season? It always seems like, oh, we could have done this, could have done that. And so if it did have to come down to one, we have touched on it already, but Iman, who would it be for you? Would it be the centre-back or would it be the defensive midfielder?
This is really tough.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, do we take the risk with Matip, Gomez, and Virgil and Ibu with their previous injuries? And we know they can get injured, and sometimes for a very long time. They can get a pretty serious injury and be out for a decent amount of time. So do we take that risk? I think, yeah, man. I think we take that risk. Yeah. We're going to have to take that risk. I just cannot see us playing without a defensive midfielder for another season. I feel like if we have a proper midfield that can defend, I feel like we can do a good job of not exposing the defense as much. And plus, with Europa League, I feel like maybe that allows us to rotate more. And I feel like I really hope Klopp does that this season. Maybe we see a couple youngsters come through and we really rotate the squad and really spread out the responsibility, because I feel like that's needed. So if we're not going to address everything we need to address this transfer window, I'm going to have to go with the defensive midfielder. So we're not as exposed in the midfield and they just go straight to the center backs. Because I feel like that was another issue why center backs look as terrible as they did. Van Dijk didn't look insane. Yep. You know, that's what I feel. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with the defensive mid.
For me, I would just have to go with a center back. I think we need a left-footed center back because, because we can't go into the next season without having a defense like the midfield last season. We can't do that. We just need to have just bring in one left-footed center back in because Robertson, I'm sorry, but he's a left back and he can't really play a left center back.
Oh, we've got to try him though. We've got to try.
Yeah.
The player that he is, we've got to try it in pre-season.
Yeah.
We've got to see it.
Yeah.
Just so that our brains can go, yeah, that was a bad idea.
But for defensive midfield, on the other hand, I feel like we would be fine with Fabinho and Bajcetic, because Fabinho, now that he has better players around him, he can do better. You saw how last season coming to an end, Fabinho was doing a good job.
Great, yeah.
In the last couple of games, he looked great. I mean, he looked fantastic, especially against Man United and other games as well. But yeah, for me, I would just have to take left-footed center back. That's my priority.
Right, so it's 1-1. The casting vote.
It's about to become 2-1 for one of them. Personally, I think I'm gonna have to go with the center back too. I think that Fabi lad, if you will, in the last couple of weeks of the season, he reminded us of his qualities, of how good he can be when he's on the game. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I think that we all agree he was not on it a lot last season.
Yeah.
And I think Szoboszlai has lots of good defensive numbers. Alexis McAllister has very good defensive numbers. I think Thiago was also pretty decent, at least pressure-wise. Henderson, maybe some of us would have been like, oh, is he past it? But looks like he's going through a transformation this summer.
Oh,
We've all been
he's in big shape. He has 8 packs on him. He has 8 packs on him. He's looking sharp, man.
When Mohamed Salah is looking at you and saying, wow, with the body he has, then
and Robo.
Well done, mate.
Exactly. When I'm just like, oh my gosh, the man in a month is already he's done. He's done his workout. He's done.
He took the Szoboszlai signing personally, man.
He took it personally. He's like, I'm not gonna get out muscled by some 22-year-old. Yeah. And so I think that in terms of pressures and people pushing and giving Fabinho at the very least some space to, I guess, relax, to know that if someone loses the ball upfield, Szoboszlai is going to press them. McAllister is going to press them. Henderson, if he doesn't press, he's going to shout for someone to go and press them. So in that regard, I think Fabinho has some cover. But center back wise, when when Van Dijk is like fit and Ibrahima Konate is fit, I think they're a great pair. But unfortunately, Ibrahima Konate, he gets injured a bit, and then Van Dijk, ever since the ACL situation,
ACL.
we all know that he's good, but there's something missing from those early days, and
Yeah.
so I think we need someone just to at least give Van Dijk a rest, or so that if Ibrahima Konate is injured and Joe Gomez and Matip are not in form, someone's there to cover at the very least.
It's
Yeah.
bang on.
I
It's
agree with
absolutely
you.
bang on in terms of a centre back, because it hurts me to say, because I love him I loved him as a footballer, but Joe Gomez, from last season, I almost want to say I don't want to see him play for us again. That's how frustrating it was, and how it just seems so easy for him to make a mistake, and it was like yeah, and then he'll do it again in the same game. You think, very frustrating figure last season for me. And that again leads me on to outgoings, because I imagine we will have to see a couple before the window's up. Does anybody think that there are going to be any outgoings that shock us? We've heard rumours about Henderson that I think have been brushed aside now, haven't they? But Thiago, Thiago with a year left. Is there anybody that you can see leaving that might shock us a little bit?
I could see, and this doesn't shock me a little bit, but I can see Nat Phillips leaving to go to Leeds, because Nat Phillips, he hasn't been getting any game time. He's been like a fourth choice center back for a long time, and he's been wanting to leave for so long. So I can see Nat Phillips leaving Liverpool. I just don't see it happening for him to stay next season. I just think Phillips is gonna leave. So. And then I think Kelleher maybe. I think Kelleher would surprise me, because he's been a great goalkeeper, but it's just Allison's better on him. Allison's on top, and it's just what can you do? So I think Kelleher wants to play first team football, and I think he wants to leave as well. But for other outgoings, I'm not sure who. I'm not sure who's next, to be honest with you. I'm not sure anybody else, but yeah, I could tell you Phillips and Kelleher might go.
In the past couple of windows, I think we've been very consistent with, if we let someone go, they're out pretty much from the first get-go. And in the past couple of years, I can't really recall the time, besides, let's say, Coutinho in the January transfer window, where someone's come in and like there's a transfer saga with one of our players, and then everyone else we've just been like, well, thank you for your service, bye. So I think that we're not going to get much departures unless it's something crazy.
We have sort of got that under control now as a club, haven't we? Since we started to win those trophies, the ball is pretty much in our court a lot of the time now, isn't it? With regards both incomings and outgoings, I think. Iman, anyone for you? What do you think about Thiago? Nothing in that, or?
I don't know, man. I have this sneaky feeling. If we get another midfielder, Elliott might go on a loan. I don't know why, but
another loan. Did him well last time. That Blackburn loan, he was incredible. I do a podcast with a Blackburn fan, and he idolises him. He absolutely loves him. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I feel like that's one that could shock us, especially with this development and a lot of midfielders coming in. It's a lot. So I think maybe he might see another loan. I don't know.
Do you think Tyler Morton is probably going to go on a loan or permanently?
Maybe. Yeah, I could see him leaving. We'll see. It all comes down to after preseason, how they play. Maybe it will shock us.
Yeah. Sepp Vandenberg.
I think Sepp should. I think he should get a chance, because he's had the odd one here and there. But I think Tyler Morton actually got a decent little stretch for what he could expect at his age, and he didn't convince me, to be honest. There was a few little moments that I thought, oh, there's a player in there, but he went on loan at Blackburn as well, and I didn't get the same glittering report as I did for Harvey Elliott from and it all sort of went downhill towards the end of last season for him. So he doesn't convince me, and it's a mountain of a task, especially now. It was hard for the likes of Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott when we were struggling in that department, but now it's going to be a nightmare. And you forget, don't you, with these two new midfielders coming in, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. Do you know what I mean? There's all these players that are already there.
What a depth.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The midfield is, it's in a much, much healthier place. But at the same time, some people aren't going to be happy next season. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. As a big club that wants to win things, you need to be disappointing people every week. And that's where we're at, I think going into this coming season, a centre-back. The DM situation, I just love Stefan Bajcetic. I think when he's fit and ready and good to go, now that we have the opportunity to alter the midfield, I think it'll be interesting to see him not be pushed in at the deep end like he was last season. It was like, you're our DM against Real Madrid. Crack on, mate. Best midfield on the planet. Cheers for that, boss. He had no choice, but now there's options and there's a chance to really nurture these midfielders. Same with Harvey Elliott. He got pushed in and had to play a certain amount of games. Same with Curtis Jones. And they all played well and they all did played the part last season. But it'll be really interesting to see those three young players mentioned get the chance to actually be nurtured into footballers the proper way, because they haven't been able to do that so far. Finally, boys, the big one. The season's not too far away. The fixtures are out. Pre-season has started. I know it's a tough one, but I want your Liverpool Premier League position predictions. Where are we going to finish next season and why? We'll start with Muhammad Ali. Fire away. Go on.
This might be a bit of insanity. Personally, I think we can go all the way. I really do.
There's two.
I have a genuine belief that we can make it all the way, because of the last couple of seasons, I'm just thinking of the 2019-20 season, or maybe it's the 2021 season actually.
Yeah, we won that
the year after COVID. We had all those injuries. And everyone was like, oh, Liverpool's done. Is this the end of an era? It's the same vibe. And the next year, we almost had a quadruple. And I'm not saying we're going to win a quadruple, but I think we will. Even with the team that we had last year, we slapped some people with a 7-0 against United. That was that is the best.
Was funny.
Oh, yeah, that is in top 5 Liverpool moments of my life.
I'll never forget that.
We've won so many trophies, but wow.
Yeah, me and Emmanuel did a watch along on that, and we were just laughing at Man United.
Oh my God,
we were just laughing at Man United.
And I think if us being bad can still result in occasional slappings to other teams,
yes,
I honestly think we're good, and I think we are going to challenge. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win, but if we win, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm quite surprised, boys. No, This is Liverpool Football Club. I'm not surprised. If anything, you guys should recognize our threat.
Agreed, man.
Agreed.
I love it. What a way to start that question, by the way. Here we go. I love it. Have we got any pessimists in the room? Anybody who's going to shoot us down?
Oh, no. I definitely agree. I think we can go all the way. I think people are getting a little bit too carried away with City. I feel like they lost a key player in Gundogan. And I feel like, look, I know they're a good team, but I feel like we really can get at them. You winning that treble, you winning that 3rd Premier League title in a row, I feel like it puts more pressure on you than losing, because now you have a target on your back. Not everybody in the league, everybody in Europe wants to beat you, and you're the team to beat. And I feel like that pressure is more. And I feel like Liverpool, like Muhammad Ali said, they thrive in this underdog role. When everyone kicks us out and says, oh, no, Liverpool are gone, they're out, we always bounce back. And I have a feeling that you can definitely challenge, Now, if I'm being realistic, I think we can get 2nd or 3rd place, but I really do feel there's a great chance that we can definitely win that Premier League title, and I wouldn't be surprised. And even I have a feeling we're going to win the Europa League.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
Playing. Sevilla's in the Champions League, so we have a chance.
That's it. Amir, finish us off. What are we saying?
I think we're gonna go all the way as well. If we get a defensive midfielder and a left-footed center back, I think we can go all the way and challenge for the trophies and just fight for the trophies. I think I think we can do it. We've done it before in the 1920 season, and then the year after that, we had all these injuries, you know, and everyone was like, "Oh, Liverpool's finished. Oh, Liverpool is this and that. Oh, Liverpool is, you know,
the worst
but then
champions ever.
the worst champions ever." But then we just came back in 21-22 for a chasing quadruple. We didn't get the quadruple, but we got the double, and we got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and that's what we need to do. We need to go into the season where we have this mindset where we have to like challenge for the trophies and win a Premier League, win a Europa League, you know. Like I think for me, I don't think we're gonna get first, but I think we're gonna get like second and third, and then we're probably gonna get a Europa League and another trophy. That's my opinion. But yeah.
Well, I'd take that, I think. But boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming onto the channel. Thank you very much for having me in this community that is existing now. It's brilliant and it's great to be a part of. And I really appreciate you boys bringing me on to the WhatsApp group, to your live streams. And, you know, it's a really interactive, you know, little community, isn't it? So I appreciate that so much, boys. Thank you very much. This won't be the last time you're on this channel. We'll continue doing what we're doing. But boys, thank you so much. All the best. And I'll see you next time. Nice one, fellas.
Yeah, next time.
Nice one.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.